Hello, welcome to Canada, where we eat a lot of blueberries, and when it's 7 degrees Celsius above zero, we think it's summertime. Today is December 1st, 2022, and we're covering the BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program. As you may know or not know, all the draws for the BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program for applicants this year for the base category in 2022 have been at least 116 points and higher. Do you know what it takes to be invited for this direct PR stream for investors and entrepreneurs? Are you aware of all the changes to the points matrix they've announced in November of this year, 2022? Did you know that international students and workers inside Canada could become eligible to apply under this entrepreneurial program to help them with their permanent residency? We will cover all these factors and latest changes in today's live recording for the BC Provincial Nominee Entrepreneur Program. Hello, my name is Reza and I work with the Ingwe Canada immigration team helping applicants to move to Canada. Whether it's for yourself, your kids, your business, or all of the above, we do make it happen. Let me make this clear. I'm not an actual full-time YouTuber, but I work hands-on with our licensed team in Canada, working on actual applications and communicating with the immigration department in Canada and overseas embassies on a daily basis on behalf of our clients. These videos are made for the purpose of sharing our hands-on Canadian immigration knowledge with our worldwide audience. And if you're thinking about immigrating, well, at Ingwe, we break down the barriers between countries so you can study, work, and invest in the destination of your choice. We're licensed and we help applicants just like yourself and your families. Anyone who intends to stay and settle in British Columbia, where Vancouver, Okanagan, Victoria, Vancouver Island, Osoyoos, and all these great places are, and creates economic investment benefit and actively plans to manage a business can potentially become eligible to apply under this BC PNP program if you meet the rest of the criteria that we're quickly going to summarize before going into a deep dive into the points matrix and the changes that the BC PNP Entrepreneur Stream have done. Well, still the same. You still need $600,000 net worth for the base category in the BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program if you plan to invest in Greater Vancouver area, and of course $300,000 net worth if you're going for the regional pilot, which is outside of the major cities in the province. You still need to invest minimum $200,000 of your own funds for the base category and $100,000 minimum for the regional pilot. The bare minimum language score is CLB 4, which is a Canadian language benchmark of 4, meaning IELTS 4.5 listening, 3.5 reading, writing 4, and speaking 4. You can of course take French or English, up to you, and it's not required at the initial application stage. So that's good news. Only before you're nominated for PR, which can be 18 to 20 months down the line after you've implemented and run the business, do you need to submit language, proof of language, unless you're claiming points. Although the regional pilot program is a bit different, they do require language ability upfront when you're registering. Post-secondary education is not mandatory still for this program, so that hasn't changed. Although you will lose some points and will require 100% business ownership experience in the past 5 years to make up for the education aspect. The points matrix for these entrepreneur investor programs are all out of a total of 200 points, which are 120 self-declared points when you register online and 80 points graded by the provincial office themselves based on your business concept, which should come from your business plan. Remember, you need a business plan to have a business concept, folks. Minimum total score for the base category is 115 points to be eligible, to actually be invited and stay in the pool for the Provincial Entrepreneur Program. And 105 minimum points is the minimum requirement for the regional pilot, which has a different scoring matrix, which we will not be covering today. Here's the rest of the quick facts you need to know when applying under the base category before we move on to the points. Well, Registrations are scored by the province within 6 weeks as soon as you enter all of your data online through their portal. In-person interviews are mandatory. Net worth audit is mandatory after you've been invited to apply. Pre-interview. People ask me, well, can I include my net worth based on assets which are under my wife and children's names? Yes, it's possible as long as it's documented. There's a $300 registration fee on the BC PNP portal and $3,500 after you've been invited to apply, when you actually apply with your supporting documents, your net worth audit document, and are invited for an interview. Franchises are accepted as a business concept in BC if the franchise is well established, unlike Ontario's main entrepreneur program, which is looking for new franchises. Purchase of a new existing business is also possible under both the base category and regional pilot in BC. Co-registrants in BC PNP base category, so the main category for Vancouver, Greater Vancouver area, are also accepted. Your profile and business concept scores will be assessed at the registration stage, where you have to enter all your data through the PNP portal as your expression of interest. Your registration will expire in 6 months if you have not been invited in 6 months. So please make sure you do your calculation estimates in advance so you don't waste your money and time just going into the pool with not enough points. I just told you folks, you need 116 points minimum to be invited. So if you've got 110, 100, 90, 80, why are you sitting in that pool? The BC Provincial Nominee Entrepreneur Pool. So don't mix it up with the Skilled Immigration Pool or the BC Tech pool, right? This is the entrepreneur base category we're talking about. The regional pilot has even lower points, okay? So after you've been invited under this program, you've got 120 days, right, to submit all your supporting documents and the net worth audit, which should have been done by designated and authorized accounting firm, which has been approved by the BC Provincial Office. They're posted on their website. And here's the points matrix changes for the BC PNP Entrepreneur base category. And this is a deep dive, and we're going to talk about what's changed since they've announced these new points matrix since November 2022. Okay, if I'm moving too fast, you guys let me know. Always happy to answer questions after the live, folks. We will be back after the live to make sure we answer all the questions and comments on our YouTube channel. I won't be able to see your Facebook, Instagram comments at live, but I will be able to see your YouTube comments and questions. Okay. The business ownership and senior management experience reports have been broken down in more detail, and there's bigger gaps in categories, which makes it more difficult to claim more points based on your business ownership and senior if you've got less experience. So the reason they've split it into more than 2 or 3 or 4 categories is it's a detailed breakdown, and it'll make it more difficult for people with less experience or business ownership experience to claim higher points in this category. You do get bonus points, so for 100% business ownership experience in the past 3 years from the time of applying. For the personal net worth scoring, you will gain points for liquid cash assets as well as for the entire net worth. So they're broken this down even further. So before you only had a few categories, now you have more, which means that people, right, with less net worth and liquid assets will have less points in this new points matrix compared to people who can potentially gain more points with having a higher net worth. A lot of provincial programs don't give you more points than if you have like $1 million or $2 million net worth. In BC, this baby can go up to 8 million, folks. That's right. Remember, you need 600,000 net worth no matter what to be eligible, but can gain 3 or 4 bonus points if you've got $200,000 to $400,000 at least ready in liquid assets such as cash or convertible equities in the public stock market that you can convert to cash within, let's say, 24 hours. The total personal investment points have been changed, which makes it more difficult to gain maximum points with minimum investment. So if you're investing a minimum of 200,000, you're only claiming 8 out of 20 points, meaning that you need to make up the points in different categories such as location or new Canadian hires, right? So remember, the minimum may never get you across the finish line here. It really depends on your whole profile and of course your business concept. But again, the points breakdown for the job creation section of the points matrix for the BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program has been divided up, making it challenging again to claim maximum points. If you're hiring one person only, 4 points for you. You need to hire 6 to 7 people to just get 9 points out of the 12 available points. Previously, with less hires, you were able to gain more points, but now they've split it and it's more difficult to claim these maximum points with less hires. It's up to you to decide where you want to invest and maximize your points in this whole program. Keep in mind that some points are quote unquote free, and we call them sweat points. Based on your work experience, ownership, city or region you're planning to invest in BC, and previous visits to BC, your age, education, language ability, and so forth, which we will cover later on in this deep dive of the points matrix. And the reason we call them sweat points is because, well, we'd like to call them free points, but you've actually worked hard to gain these points, right, about your profile. So we call them sweat points. The points breakdown for the location of your investment is similar to the previous versions, where you will gain no points by investing in the main areas of Vancouver known as mainland Vancouver. So this part of the points matrix has not changed, but can potentially gain up to 6 to 12 bonus points if you're outside the region, outside of Vancouver mainland, such as Vancouver Island or the Okanagan or the northern parts of BC. Okanagan and Vancouver Island are definitely one of my favorite spots for outside of Vancouver investments, which I recommend for entrepreneurs who want to go to smaller investment amounts and gain higher points and higher probability of success. For adaptability factors, which is another section of the points matrix, the BC PNP will allow international students and international foreign workers to claim points for studying anywhere in Canada for minimum 2 consecutive semesters, or owning or running your own business in Canada, whether self-employed or being employed by another Canadian company for minimum 12 months. Okay, so either of these will give you 8 bonus points. So that's huge, right? That means if you studied and you had 1 year studies, at least 2 semesters, you could potentially apply under this program and become an investor. Or if you were employed or you were self-employed, let's say you're a spouse of an international student and you want to go through this program to convert your whole family into PR. Well, it's possible. And you can gain these bonus 8 points if you've been running your own business or being employed. And they didn't specify under what NOC code. Little hint there. You can gain an easy 8 points for exploratory trip within the last 12 months. If you have traveled to BC before 12 months, your points will drop. But in the last year, from the time you apply, you visit and do a very specific exploratory trip to the designated area that you're planning to invest in. Well, that's an easy 8 points right there. Don't give those up. Make sure you claim those. For the age points, remember, there's no age limit for this BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program. You could be 60, 70, 90, or maybe 110 years old, if you are, good for you, and still be eligible to apply. The max points are given to applicants between the ages of 35 to 44 and 45 to 54 with a little bit less points, right? So you still have a good chance of gaining some points in the age category, although you can still claim points up to 64. After that, it's 0, and the reason is 65 is the official retirement age in Canada, hence not gaining enough points after 64. But you can still apply. That's the good news. You just won't get any age points. For education points, which are not mandatory, remember, post-secondary education is not mandatory if you've had 100% business ownership in the last 5 years. You can easily claim max 10 points if you have a master's degree in your education or higher, like a PhD, or 7 points for bachelor's degree or a postgraduate certificate or diploma. And if you have good command on language ability such as English or French, you can easily score 6 bonus points for the language category by achieving a language exam score of CLB 5 or higher. Canadian language benchmark 5 or higher literally means it's 5, except reading is 4 in each band, which is quite easy for many applicants. Let's say if you're from US, Europe, Central, South America, India, Pakistan, let's say GCC region, right? You can also skip the language requirements if you do not have the ability now to take the exam, but would need a low score of CLB 4 before you're nominated for PR, which is approximately 18 to 20 months down the line. When you've run your business, they've invited you, you have your work permit. So you do have time in case you're not comfortable in gaining the language score. And if somebody asks me, well, can my wife get my language score instead of me? No, it's the main applicant. Okay. The next section is about the business concept, which is a total of 80 points and depends on the research and business plan writer you're using. Maybe you're doing it yourself. Maybe you're outsourcing. 15 out of the 80 points will be, again, based on your own business experience and language ability, right? So there's an overlap between these 80 points and the 120 points. These 80 points are just about your business plan, the proposal, the concept, and the research, and a little bit of a mix and match of your own profile here. 30 points is based on the business model. So out of these 80 points that we're talking about now, it's the research and the business model and the investment amount. So the quality of the concept that you're pitching to the provincial program, that you're saying, hey, I'm coming to run or start this business or buy this business. While 35 points is based on how many jobs and high-skilled positions you create with your investment in Canada and whether it's a priority sector for BC. So 30 points on the actual business model, the whole research and investment amount. 35 out of the 80 points, it's about the job creation and is it a priority sector? Is it important for them? You know, are you starting a convenience store? Well, yeah, that's not going to be on the priority list. Are you planning to flip homes like 99% of the Canadian population or immigrant population, I must say? Well, probably they won't like that, right? The points in this section of the business concept have not changed much. And it all depends on how you or the person writing the business plan for you incorporate all the details and research properly. It's clear, right? If it's a good business plan, you can expect anywhere from 65 to 70 out of the 80 points that are available to claim in this section out of the 200 total points for the BC PNP Entrepreneur base category, not the regional pilot. You can claim a potential of 10 to 16 points or even 23 if you invest in one of the key sectors they've identified on their website with at least one significant benefit, which is not too difficult if you plan your business and application correctly. Some key sectors by the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program, which have been announced, are agriculture, food, beverage, right? So could be food production and food processing, clean technology, digital media and entertainment. So it's not marketing agencies, but it's more digital media creation and entertainment because it's a huge business, the entertainment industry in BC. Forestry, so anything to do with wood. Information and communications technology, so IT, right? So that's great. Same as Ontario, ICT is very highly prioritized, information communication technology. Life sciences, mining, natural gas, and aerospace. So last but not least, you can claim 10 to 15 points on your previous related business management or ownership experience if you invest in the same related industry, right? So if you're starting a business and you don't have experience in it, well, you're going to lose points here. But if you do, which makes sense, right? If you're a doctor, why are you going into mining? Or if you're a miner, why are you going into life sciences unless, I don't know, you're coming up with some special supplements based on some new mineral processing process, okay? Well, This is sweat points, as I said before. These are not free points because you actually worked hard to gain that experience. So we call them sweat points. You don't need to pay extra for your investment, but you can claim experience points related to your business that you're planning to invest in, either 10 or 15 points. So make sure when you're applying under the BC PNP Entrepreneur Program, you've got those, it's in the industry that you have experience in. And at the conclusion of all this, folks, you can take away the following in regards to this program's matrix changes since November 2022. A good business model and plan can push your points higher without significantly investing higher, right? So a good business plan writer is important. Is it possible to be an international student or graduate or foreign worker already in Canada and claim bonus points and apply under this entrepreneurship program? Yes. It is possible if you're an international student who's completed 2 semesters or a foreign worker who's had 1 year of experience, whether self-employed or not. You could potentially apply through this program to get your PR. There's some easy points that we call sweat points, right? Which are non-monetary factors, right? Such as in location of investment, language, age, education, and past business management or ownership experience, and investing in the related industries and perhaps key sectors. You worked hard to get these sweat points, so prefer not to call them free points, but make sure you claim them. You've got to tweak it properly to be successful in the BC PNP. They have a very detailed points matrix, probably one of the most detailed ones that are available across all of Canada in any provincial entrepreneur program. I've gone through the point system and we've applied from literally almost everywhere except Quebec and Yukon and Northwest Territories. I gotta admit, I have no experience there, but BC PNP points matrix is very detailed and they're very strict, so you better know what you're doing. It's easy to gain the 160 to 120 points required by the BC PNP Entrepreneur Base category if you know what you're doing and you're planning your application and business concept correctly. Currently, the draws are 116, as I said, to 120, and don't expect to be selected if you have less than this amount. And if you like, reach out to us, and if you're a qualified applicant under this program or any of the entrepreneur program, we can do a free calculation of your points and perhaps guide you if you're planning to apply under the provincial entrepreneur programs. There you go, folks. That's it. If you're thinking about immigrating to Canada through investment, business, work, sponsorship, or studies, you are at the right place. I can only guarantee one point. You will know what to expect, the entire process clearly laid out for you, all your costs and expenses, and all risks identified, and where we can provide you, as our client, 100% support. We have a $1 million liability insurance, which protects you and us from fraud and mistakes, and a dedicated client trust account with our Canadian banks. Our team speaks over 8 languages. Hopefully, we prefer to be 10 in the future, and we help applicants from over 47 different countries during the Canadian immigration process. Click the link below this video and get a free email assessment for qualified applicants. And if you're interested in the Canadian Startup Visa Program, again, we're hosting another webinar December 27th, 2022, where we'll be covering an in-depth analysis and breakdown of the Canadian Startup Visa Program, which is very popular, if you didn't know already, and the latest news and stats from the IRCC in relation to that program. And if you already know what you want, your timeline is clear, and you're ready to apply, you can book a one-on-one consultation with me or any of my licensed team members using the consultation link in the description of this video. And if you have questions about Canadian immigration, remember, we're here weekly, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram every Thursday at 11 a.m. North America Eastern Time, where we answer all of your Canadian immigration-related questions for free on the spot. And just to let everyone know, I can only see your YouTube comments and questions during our live stream that I can respond to live. And yes, we are live. Thanks everyone for joining us. We've got Adele Ramos. Happy winter. Happy winter back to you, Adele. When I read out your name in question and answer, make sure you put a thumbs up. Otherwise, I will be fired by our marketing team. Nasrin Ibrahimi says, Hola Reza, buena suerte para ti. My Spanish isn't that good, but thank you, Rosita. I appreciate it. Shahnawaz Sheikh, am I eligible to apply to British Columbia? Shahnawaz, I don't know, right? We'd have to go through your profile in detail, but as long as you've got the minimum net worth, 600,000, you're willing to invest, and we do a points-based calculation. If we can make sure you reach 116 points under the base category, boom, you're good to go. Anshal Gabai, can I apply for the BC PNP if I have completed 2 programs in 2 years from Ontario College? Yeah, sure. I've recently completed my 1 year of experience as well in Ontario. Perfect. Yes, if you meet the net worth and the investment amounts and we calculate your points and you can claim those bonus 8 points because of your work experience and education, yes, you could be eligible. But remember, you need to show that you intend and are able to settle in BC, British Columbia, because this is a BC program. And if you're interested in another program, for another province, we can also do that. Safa Saleh, how are you? If I got a work permit under SUV and waiting for PR, can I expedite PR process time by express entry, maybe, or any other legal way? Yes, Safa. This is something I've discussed in my previous videos as well. You can always take a detour, right? Because it's a 2.5 to 3.5 process year. If you compare it to express entry, and this is going to blow your mind, folks. Yes, it's going to blow your mind more than the winters in Toronto. Is that in express entry, from the date you apply, within 6 months, you'll get a confirmation of PR, and then 3 months later, you'll get your actual PR cards. That's the average that we've seen with our clients. With the startup visa, it will take 2.5 years to get a decision, and then another 10 to 12 months to get your actual PR card. Okay, so we're talking 6 to 9 months versus 3 years or 3.5 years. So yes, you can, but if you're an essential member and you're not the only member of your group, Safa, if you take a detour and take a PR from another route, you know what that's going to do to you? That will basically evaporate your entire group. Because if you were an essential member and you withdrew, because you cannot have 2 PR applications at the same time, then the whole group will go into like we refused. And then you'll get your PR this other way. So make sure if you're doing this, either you are non-essential member or you're a sole founder, like there's no co-founders, or everyone's abandoning this startup and you're just kind of going on your own and doing this PR thing, okay? Divya Agraval, hello, I applied for my inland spousal PR. On the tracker, it shows that the application is in process. And even though all the sessions are completed and I can only see a COPR number. Okay, so that basically means you're pretty much done. How long will it take to update the Try and GCkey, as nothing is updated there yet except for pre-arrival services email and medical? It's been more than a week. Yeah, so you will receive the COPR soon, Divya. Remember, this whole COPR and PR card thing can take up to 3 months and sometimes up to 5 months. So if you get it in the next 1, 2, or 3 months, that's normal. And then after that, several months for your PR card. So if you get the COPR, if you already don't have it, another 3 months to actually get the card. So remember, when you do get your confirmation of PR, you're already a PR, a permanent resident. The only difference is that you can't actually travel with that letter. You've got to wait for that PR card. Adobe Munonye. Hello, Sarah. Please, if I get selected for the OMP Human Capital stream and my application is spouse unaccompanied, can I add my spouse back after getting the NOI and 600 points, or will it be ineligible? No, unfortunately, you cannot because you have an existing express entry. After you've been invited, you cannot add or change anything after you've been invited. If you have not been invited, you can change. Safa says, you are not watching Canada versus Morocco in World Cup 2022 happening now. No, unfortunately, Safa, I not watching soccer. Yes, that's a good point. I like that. We've got a FIFA World Cup front. I hope a lot of you are FIFA World Cup. But just to let you know, Safa, Canada is just warming up. So there's no high expectations of them in this World Cup. In 4 years, I think it's going to be North America, Mexico, US, and Canada. And that's when Canada wants to really compete. This is kind of like a warm up for them. Okay. Hey, Tam Musa, is there any update on SUB, which is the SUV business program, estimated time? And is it possible to essential members and work remotely from abroad? Haitam Musa, yes. So the estimated time is still the same, 2.5 years to make a decision on your file, and then to get the PR done and confirmation of PR can take an additional 10 to 12 months. That has not changed in the past year and a half, okay? And yes, you can work remotely. There is no obligation to actually apply for work permit and come to Canada. But remember, you better show some proper proof that you've been working and getting traction on this business and you intend to move the business to Canada. Okay, so you gotta have that ready. Adobe Munonia says, also, is it okay if my work experience is my family business and I was paid in cash? Adobe, if it was, as long as you don't own 50% of that business in Canada. If it was an overseas business, that's fine. It could be family business, self-employed. If you were paid in cash, I would highly recommend showing some proof that you were employed. Maybe when you deposit the cash in your bank statement or any other documentation that can prove, or if you had social insurance. I'm not sure, but it depends on your country. Jose Angel Diaz. Hello, Reza. I applied for a work permit, but one of my work experience was not disclosed in previous study permit. Refusal application. Would this be a problem? Should I contact IRCC web form with a letter of explanation? So I applied for a Jose. I applied for a work permit, but one of my works was not disclosed in previous study. I would have said you should have just explained there. If it was like a recent work experience, it depends how significant it is, right? If the work permit you're applying is closed, right, and it's that work experience relates your work experience to the job offer, then yes, this is huge. But if it's an open work permit like a postgraduate work permit, it's not going to make a huge difference. If I don't know how significant it is. If you've got 10 different work experience and this is one of them in the last 10 years, they're not going to refuse you based on that. So it depends on the context. If it's a closed work permit, if there's a job offer, if there's some kind of provincial nominee or employer sponsorship, and that work experience is linked to that job offer that you didn't disclose before, yes, it can definitely affect it. And in that case, I would definitely say you need to explain ASAP. If not, if it's an open work permit and the work experience from a long time ago, it was 6 months part-time stint, it's not going to be a refusal reason. So it depends if it's how significant it is. Anseers, hi, Mr. Reza. Thank you for suggestions over email. Yes, how are you, Anseers? Nice to connect with you. We will be in touch through email, waiting for your feedback. I don't know, did you reply to my email or not? Because everyone uses different names on YouTube and social media than their real names, so sometimes I confuse them. But make sure if you have any questions, let me know. Would love to help out. Abdullah, dear Reza, thanks for your correspondence through email. Hope to close our process as soon as possible. Await your meeting soon. Abdullah, thanks, Abdullah. Again, you got to refresh my mind, folks, because sometimes you're using different names on YouTube, so it's difficult for me to identify who's exactly what, but you can always give me a hint and I'll know. Okay, make sure you press the like button, everyone. Otherwise, I will be fired and I will not be here every Thursday to talk about FIFA World Cup, like Safa said, or the weather here, which is getting really cold, or Canadian blueberries. Yes, it's a major source of vitamin C and antioxidants. Make sure when you become a newcomer, you go to the grocery store and pick up your pack of Canadian or North American blueberries, because a lot of them come from the US as well. But we do have some greenhouses here. Yeah, that's a different topic, folks, of how to gain your nutrition with the Canadian food supply system. Today we discussed the BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program, and we are ready to move on. Next week we're going to have an update on startup visa, so there will be a video release I believe on Wednesday perhaps, where we will give you some new stats, some great gossip, and latest updates on startup visa refusals and approvals and what IRCC is looking for, right? And then next Thursday, again, we're going to do our live session. And I believe we're going to do something about graduate students who want to go through the entrepreneur program. So a lot of provinces have a graduate entrepreneur program available for graduates who don't need to find a job to convert to PR, but they just start their own business, meet certain criteria, and then be nominated. And remember, folks, if you are a startup visa fan, we will have our webinar again, December 27th of December. If you missed our previous webinar, make sure you tune in. And we will be back live here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram next week, Thursday, 11 a.m. North America Eastern Time. Aram Mohammed says hi. Hello, Aram. Aftab Khan, how are you? Just started waiting for, yes, Aftab Khan. Yes, we are working on your case. We will be signing the NDAs and potentially bringing in some new investors. So let's discuss through email after. I will be emailing you back within the end of today. Okay, so it's good to see everyone here. There's a lot of people I know where I've been in touch with on email, and we will be back. Aram says, hello, Mr. Reza. My name is Aram. I'm licensed practical nurse, and I have a diploma with more than 6 years as a full-time working in a hospital in my home country, and I have a CLB4. Can I apply for this program? How easy is it to meet this program? Aram, you can apply, of course. There's no restrictions on nationality or occupation. What you are, if you were a practical nurse or if you were, a professor or a business owner, it depends on other criteria. So when we're talking about the BC Provincial Entrepreneur Program, we're talking about investments, net worth. In case you're a practical nurse, there may be some opportunities around with employers here who are actually hiring nurse aides, okay, support workers. So if you think that's the route to go, if you plan on starting your own business, you've got the net worth that we discussed in this video. A recording will be posted right after this, and the investment in net worth and all that. Of course, it's possible, right? But again, you've got to do an exploratory trip. That's very important. But we can discuss after. Send us an email and mention that you watch this video, you engage with us in the live, because we do get a lot of requests, and we just have to concentrate on the qualified applicants or the people who are willing and able to apply for these programs. Okay, folks, we're going to be back next week. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to everyone who's watched our live. I know, as Safa was saying, there was a FIFA World Cup game today with Canada. So make sure you enjoy the rest of the World Cup, and we'll see you soon by next week. Take care, everyone. Appreciate it.